Alrighty, it's your boy Zxous, and we're back with another Goddess of Victory Nikke video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about if you should be summoning for, I guess, Nero, the Zoo Happy. I think that's her squad. Or Happy Zoo, that's her squad, I believe. But Nero, because Nero's skill came out, and she's a very, very good character in terms of what she's supposed to do as a defender. But before we get into all that stuff, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thank you guys, we did reach 4,000 subs. So thank you guys, we hit 4K. So we're just trying to go up from here, bro. Really appreciate it, right? It's insane that we hit 4,000 in only 4 months, right? Like, we've been growing quite crazy for what we've been doing. So thank you guys for 4,000 subscribers. But let's talk about Nero here, right? Because I think this is a character now that people are considering summoning for and not considering summoning for and all that stuff. So first things to remember, this is a character that will be on Wishlist. And I don't know if I'm going to have a before you summon video out for this girl. But if I don't, then remember she's a character that will be on Wishlist. She is a Tetra. And because of how much Tetras there are in the game, now it's going to be harder for your wish list and to what to put on your Tetra wish list. For example, if you don't have Blanc, Noir, Her, and all these other Tetras that are very, very good, it's going to be hard for you to pick which ones to choose, right? Because all of these characters are useful. Now, I think if you have Blanc and Noir and you use them everywhere, this girl you should not be summoning for this character. But let's talk about it, right? So obviously she's a character who is best paired up with healers, really, because her first skill at least really depends on heals, right? So when an ally heals her, that ally will have their damage reduction, basically damage reduction by 14.14% or whatever percentage it is at whatever level, right? For 5 seconds, they'll get damage reduction essentially, right? And then every time you get healed for up to 5 times, you will also get damage reduction depending on whatever level your character is. The stats will change, of course, right? So you kind of always want to pair her up with a healer. That's number one. You always want to have her with a healer because that first effect is quite good, especially if you do get that first skill to level 10. That's 40% damage reduction, right? And with characters like Rapunzel, I want to say like Rapunzel is like the best option here, right? I know there's characters like Mary who's a very good healer, obviously Emma in PvP, and Blanc herself is a healer as well, Biscuit's a healer as well. But in reality, Rapunzel would be her best partner for the simple fact that Rapunzel's she just heals every single time. What's it called? She heals every time she uses a full burst to 3 allied units, right? So I don't know if she's always gonna have let me close this tab. I don't know if she's always gonna have the lowest HP. But she is a taunter as well, but which we're going to talk about in a second here. But you definitely want to have her up with a healer that's going to constantly heal, and I think Rapunzel's the only one that's really doing that for you. Especially a higher chance of it being for her because she heals up to 3 allies. There's another character, I think it's Pepper, but there's another character who does the same thing, but he heals up for 1 ally, right? That might be Pepper or Noise, just one of the two, right? So there's that. Not to mention she increases allies with the highest attacks, HP and max HP and HP potency. So if you like purposely like build this girl up, like make her that she has the highest attack, which won't be possible because she's a defender, but if you really try your best to do that, then you know she'll have more max HP, more healing potency and stuff like that. But of course Rapunzel is the best person to pair up with this girl for just constant healing, right? To keep that 40% damage reduction. So keep that in mind, right? Other healers work, but I do see Rapunzel being the best partner. Now in her second skill, there's 2 effects here, right? Both of them have a 30% chance when being attacked, right? But the first one, you have damage taken increased to the enemies that attack you, right? So when she's attacked, there's a 30% chance that for 5 seconds, everyone just does, I guess, 8.26% more damage, or whatever percentage it is, more damage to that enemy that hits you specifically. So that is going to be good, and it's going to be good but not as useful as people think it's going to be in most situations, because when it comes to a 1v1, here's how I see it. If it comes to a 1v1, every time like that one enemy attacks you, then they have a 30% chance. Whereas if you're in like a mob situation, everybody's attacking you, you're gonna guaranteed proc it, basically, right? If you're getting hit by 100 different enemies, at least one time that 30% is gonna proc, right? It's not like 10% like others, because Emma's actually, if you guys know this in PvP, when it comes to machine gun characters especially, Emma procs her heal at 5% like a beast, right? Every time. So even in PvP, that's going to be quite nasty as well. Actually, it's going to be very good in PvP. I'm not going to lie. This is a very good skill for PvP. Right? And in the second part, there's a 30% chance, but this part only activates when you're in her burst skill. So it's nothing like, that's not crazy, but you have to use her burst skill, which isn't a problem, of course. But there's a 30% chance when you're in the grumpy status, just to deal 158.05% or whatever percentage it is of final attack of damage to the enemy, right? But one thing that really makes this defender shine above most is this part right here. She just guaranteed increases her max HP by up to 60.28%. That's crazy. That's crazy. Especially if she's taunting, because another character that like actually increases max HP when you use her burst skill is Mary, right? Mary's another character who increases max HP when you are using her burst skill. So for you to do that, and then she's taunting guaranteed on her burst skill, it's a very, like, there's a lot of good combinations you can do with this character, but they have to be with a healer, right? So she's very, very good. But if you're, for her to increase her max HP by that much, it's crazy, right? And then affects one enemy with the highest HP, just deals 1,100 percent. It's whatever percentage your level is at. I just say 1,100 because this is level 10 skills, right? But it deals a certain percentage of final attack of damage to that character. She taunts for 15 seconds, all enemies, and then when her cat replacement is fully stacked, which is her first skill, HP, which is healing potency, like healing potency is HP received, right? So like recovery basically is increased by up to 60.08% for 15 seconds, right? So I do think the best person you want to be paired up with this girl is Rapunzel, since she's going to be the most efficient throughout the entire battle. But there's a lot of other healers, right? Of course, Mary, of course, Blanc can heal as well. Who else is a healer? Biscuit herself is a healer. Like, there's a lot of healers in the game, but Rapunzel clearly seems to be the most efficient. She's actually the only one that can actually make sure that you have that damage taken increase, or damage received. No, damage reduction. That's what I'm looking for. Damage reduction. She's the only one that can really make you have that the entire game. If you build Rapunzel to like where she's reloading very quickly and stuff like that, and all that stuff. So this character is a very, very good character, and I do think she's going to be useful in PvE and PvP, but I don't think you should summon for this character if you have characters like Senti, if you have Blanc and Noir. I say that, right? If you have Blanc and Noir, because she is also, you got to remember, a 20-second cooldown character. So by using her, you're not using any other burst 2 characters, right? You could have another burst 2 character on the team just for fun, but like you're not really going to be doing all that, right? So I wouldn't recommend to summon for this character or like go so crazy on this character, just because she's a character who's quite useful, but you're going to need to also remember you're going to need specific characters with this girl, right? Because it's not like any healer is just going to work good with this girl, right? There's specific healers that will do better with this girl than others, obviously, right? But if you're like if who's a healer, let me see, who would I say, like, who's a healer that's like barely healing, right? Like Rapunzel maybe, or not Rapunzel, Rupee. Let me see, right? Rupee's not even healing her, anybody else but herself. Greedy. Well, let me find someone. Helm is a good example, right? Helm heals allies when she uses her burst skill, but that's every other full burst, right? So with that means your first skill is not going to be efficient unless her, which is Helm, is healing, right? And she's only healing on her burst skill, right? So a character like Helm is a character that won't really be so great with this character. She works with her, but she won't be the best, not even close to one of the best options with this character, right? So you definitely need to have like a good enough healer, right, with this girl, and that would be the new Mary, who is still out while this video is coming out. You only have like a couple more hours though, because I think at reset Mary banner goes away and then this girl drops. So yeah, you have that. I think that's how it works. I gotta check, but I know Mary ends today, and they said 6 more hours for her banner or whatever. Right, but Mary, Rapunzel, Soda's another good option I've seen that people were telling me about. But Soda, her thing is that she's a very slow when it comes to healing, right? Right, I feel like she's quite slow when it comes to healing. Not really, but it is, right? It's every 12 seconds. It's not really all that crazy, right? Does that make sense? It's every 12 seconds. It's not gonna work as good, right, with someone who has a 5 seconds and needs to stack up 5 times. Like literally your best healing option would be Rapunzel, no question, right? So if you have Rapunzel and you want to use this girl as your main burst 2 character, then that would be a good option, because this girl's gonna be a tanky beast, right? The max HP, the taunting, like she's not really gonna die, especially if you have the perfect setup for her. So I would say to skip for most people, right? But if you need a defensive character and you have a right healer for her, then by all means go ahead and summon. Or if you just like the character, summon. But she's a character who will go on wishlist. It's not a character that's like a must-have or anything like that. She's not really going to change the game, right? Because I think what she's doing is just like another way of what Blanc and Senti are doing, which is just keeping you alive, right? I know her stuff looks like she's just doing a lot more, but at the end of the day, the results are still just to keep your team alive, and Blanc and Senti are doing that just as well, if not better. So, but those are if you have those characters, right? But yeah, it's really up to you at the end of the day. I'm just giving you my opinion. Right, so yeah, that's really it. Let me know if you guys are gonna summon or not. I'll make a community post for the daily Nikke events today, and then you can share your opinion there as well. But yeah, it's your boy Zxous. Thank you guys again for 4,000 subscribers. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.